Welcome, friends, to Red Lily Radio, where we explore emerging technologies and how we can leverage them in life-enriching ways. I'm your host, John Oastman, and to start us off, I want you to imagine that you're in your own home in the future and you're just waking up. The first thing you see is the sunlight that floods your room coming in from the automatic blinds which are linked to the alarm on your phone. They're set to slowly open each weekday at 7 a.m. and gently pull you out of your dreams. Now your walls, with their digital wallpaper, they show a wide open field of barley gently swaying in the wind. Overlaid are a few soft arrows that guide you out your bedroom door, a symbol and a small mental push to help get you moving. As you pull yourself out of bed, rubbing your eyes and you stumble down the hallway, the proximity of your hand to the wall acts like a gust of wind. It sends ripples throughout that ocean of barley. It's coffee time now, and the walls gradually light up 5 meters ahead of you. Like every morning, you feel like the world is literally opening up to you. With your own body finally starting to feel awake, you walk up to your kitchen counter. Coffee is the first order of the day, as always. And as always, you grab a mug out of your cupboard and you place it on the counter. Detecting this, the counter lights up with the text, "Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning." During my honours year at the University of South Australia, my project partner and I got to work on this exciting project using a technology called spatial augmented reality. Now this is basically where you have a real-world 3D object, and then you make a 3D digital replica. And by using a fleet of projectors, you can project any skin or texture onto that real-world object. Now, this is very similar to a technology called texture mapping, which you've probably seen out in the world. You would see videos on YouTube of cathedrals with these unfolding surrealistic textures, or other buildings that are brought to life during arts festivals. The very cool thing we found with spatial augmented reality though, was that it can be made reactive. By integrating a Kinect camera, which is usually used for video games, we could track how closely people were standing to the totem poles. And by tracking that information, we could program the totem poles to either react with life when a person walked up to them, or on the contrary, when someone was in the field but they were neglecting a particular character, we could have that character call out to them, call them over. Now we were using this one specific technology for creating a dynamic and reactive environment, but today we're already seeing a number of other technologies that are leading us to be able to do this same thing, but in a more familiar environment, for example, in a house. Between the visible development of paper-thin flexible screens and augmented reality headsets, it won't be long before our own homes take on a whole new dimension of life. Now there are so many elements that will make this up, and unfortunately we can't talk about it all in a single episode, but we thought we would focus on one element. So we thought we'd pull up a chair and we'd take a good look at our walls. More specifically at our wallpaper. Because once wallpaper becomes digital, the very boundaries that outline our homes may become boundless. It's Friday night now, and your regular group of friends are sitting around the lounge. Someone has brought out a new bottle of wine. Now let's be honest, you don't actually know that much about wine, but you always nodded, kind of pretending that you knew what you were talking about. But lucky for you, as your friend is describing the valley that this particular wine is produced in, on your wall, a series of videos pop up. One is a flyover of this valley. One is a close-up of the specific grapes that grow there. Now no one there flinches, because these days everyone is just used to the walls reacting like that. An hour later, and a few glasses of your friend's red later, you're feeling a little bit more relaxed. You've all been reminiscing on old memories, and the topic of your late father has come up. The thing that you remembered most about your dad was actually the hikes that you used to go on together. As you're relaying this story, as you weave together passionate words about the forests and the mountains that you two would hike together, the walls around you change their colour, they change their mood. They choose hues to match the scene and the mood of each section of your story. There's a sound system that's also integrated into your house, and it starts filling the ambience with these quiet sounds of distant birds and the forest trees blowing in the wind around you. The story's already vivid in your own mind, but now your friends are totally immersed in your story too. They can feel it too. Do you remember those motivational posters that you would see in classrooms, corporate offices, and occasionally dental waiting rooms? I'm talking about the ones with that large image of mountains or a beach in the middle, and then it has a key value spread out in Times New Roman below it. You know, I don't think I ever talked to someone who would actually admit liking them, and yet they still seem to slowly spread through our culture. Regardless of whether you liked these posters consciously or not, they were actually doing something very important to you. They were priming you. What is priming? Well, it's essentially planting a seed in your brain so that you're more likely to notice certain things later on. One good example of this is in a TV show called The Experiment, where the psychological magician extraordinaire Derren Brown starts a rumour in a small English town.
Tonight's experiment is about what makes us lucky. Why do some people live lucky lives and others experience constant misfortune?
And he starts a rumour that their local dog statue brings good luck when it's patted.
The statue is about to become the subject of a rumour, and a rumour that will be planted with just one simple question. Have you heard about the lucky statue?
Derren found, just as other psychological studies have too, that people who are primed to believe that they are lucky are more likely to notice the positive opportunities that come into their lives.
Well, I've had a few lottery wins. I'd never win the lottery. But the best thing is, when I saw everybody the first time and I struck the lucky dog, I was applying for a job. And today I had the interview and I got the job.
No!
Yeah,
oh,
so how lucky is that?
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, I feel really privileged to have the job.
This is one reason that symbols can be so powerful in both religious and business worlds, as when they are repeatedly seen and associated with positive enriching values, they become a kind of psychological trigger which can prime us into a state of either deeper motivation, deeper trust, and in some cases, deeper spirituality. Now, we discussed in episode 1 of Red Lily Radio how the information streams we surround ourselves with will affect our feelings, and then those feelings will affect our actions. Using symbols of priming work the exact same way. So just like the posters you may have had on your wall as a teenager, to today where we can actually set images on our phones, our computers, and our smartwatches, and then as we move further into a future where we can digitally reprogram the wallpapers of our house, it's worth thinking about the kinds of priming symbols that you want to surround yourself with. It's Sunday afternoon. On top of your coffee table is a vintage style radio that came from your dad's old workshop. You click it on, some ambience. You can see through your kitchen window that today's light rain is stretching out across the city and all of its parklands. And you think about how, no matter how far we come technologically, humans still desire to remain connected to their environment. It's because of this that you had designated this particular window to be your resource flow monitor. With the tap of an icon in the top right corner, a stream of graphs glide into view. It's your electricity usage, your gas, and your water. The graph shows that this month, you've used far less of each of those than previous months. You've been far more efficient. Then tapping a small globe button now brings up the resource flow graphs for your whole neighborhood, and then for your whole country, and then for all of Earth. As the rain fades for a moment and a few sunbeams start to leak through the clouds, you stand back and you appreciate just how connected we all are.